It's now time for On the Line with Cheryl Wilkerson. The conversation will range from local dialogue to international. This show is meant to enlighten, inform, and to inspire. On the Line with Cheryl Wilkerson begins now.
Hello and welcome to On the Line. I'm your host, Cheryl Wilkerson. On a Sunday, you know, this show is usually recorded in advance and then we air it Sunday mornings at 11 o'clock. Thank you so much for listening each and every Sunday. Today, we're talking to a young man right here on the campus of Norfolk State University who's gotten a huge promotion. We're excited for him, and we want to learn all about him and what he plans to do as Chief of Police here at Norfolk State University. Welcome, Brian K. Covington.
Hello. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
So, as I said, this program is recorded in advance. So, really, today is Tuesday. Anything you know happening today that you want to talk about?
Well, yeah. In fact, today will be my official swearing-in ceremony.
How exciting is that?
Oh, it's very exciting. I'm looking forward to having family, friends, and a host of many other law enforcement officials that will be there in attendance as well. So I'm looking forward to it.
Has it been a long time coming? Tell us about you. Tell us, did you grow up 5 and 6 years old running around saying, I want to be a policeman?
No, not really. Somewhere down the line, my trajectory in terms of what I was going to do career-wise had changed. Initially, I wanted to go to law school. Somehow, I got diverted and decided that I wanted to become a police officer to make a change and make a difference in my community, and the rest is history.
Where did the wanting to become an attorney come from?
I think from watching TV shows, to be honest with you. One of my favorite movies is A Few Good Men, and of course, we all know the attorney scenes that are in that movie, and I just loved it. And I debate a lot. Usually, they're healthy debates,
Okay.
but and as you all know, a lot of attorneys they're pretty much almost debating their issue and whether they're a prosecuting attorney or a defense attorney.
And tell us where you grew up. What was your early childhood like, the family life? What was that like?
So I'm a military brat, so I kind of grew up all around the world, to be honest with you. I was born in Colorado Springs, Fort Carson, Colorado. After there, my father moved, I want to say, about every 3 years. So I've lived a little bit around the United States to include abroad. I lived 3 years over in Germany as a child. So it was kind of difficult moving from place to place, but I certainly enjoyed the fact that I got to experience different places with different people.
Did you find that being able to adapt to the moving in your younger life, did you find that helped you later in life?
I do, in fact. I think it helped a lot because it made me a little bit more inclusive of other people. It gave me an opportunity to not just see one particular group of people, but a multitude of different, the melting pot, if you will, of our country and the world even. So I think that certainly molded me to who I am today. And again, I just enjoyed the fact that I was able to, see a different part of the country and to live abroad. I thought that was amazing as a child.
Did you ever want to be a military lawyer? Do they have a special name, but did you ever want to do that in the military?
So, no, yes. A JAG officer, I believe is what they call it, a Judge Advocate General. So, no, I've never thought about doing that. In fact, although I enjoyed moving around as a kid, one of the things that I did not enjoy was having to make new friends. So I never joined the military full time, but I did have a love for the military and a respect. So I did join the National Guard when I turned 18.
So you went to high school in the United States, or were you in Germany then?
So in high school, I was in Fayetteville, North Carolina. My father had retired at Fort Bragg. So I went to high school at Westover High School in Fayetteville, North Carolina, where I took JROTC, and that's when I decided I didn't want to go full-time service, but I did want to do some part-time, so I joined the Army National Guard the minute that I turned 18.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
I guess your family, they were probably pretty pleased with that, right? Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, especially my father. I think I'm the only one in the family. I have two brothers. I'm the middle child. I'm the only one who has somewhat followed in his footsteps in that
Uh-huh.
regard.
Right, right. So you got that. For that, you're the favorite son for that anyway, right?
Exactly. At least I hope I am.
That's pretty good. If you just joined us, we are talking to our brand new police chief of police here on the campus of Norfolk State University. His name is Brian K. Covington, and we're excited about what you're going to do. So, policing in 2022, what in the world does that look like? Okay, for me, I tell people this all the time, and I'm not ashamed to say it. First of all, I could have never been in the military because I'm a punk, okay? I'm a scaredy cat, okay? And I never could have been on the police force because, again, I'm a scaredy cat, okay? So, what does policing look like to you in 2022 with all that goes on and surrounds what you do?
So you know what? It's much different than when I first started. I started my law enforcement career in 1997 with the Hampton Police Department. And fast forward to now, 2022, and of course, the country or the world, if you will, is now coming out of a pandemic. So policing is much different. There are certain challenges that most police departments are facing right now, especially in terms of personnel and staffing. And there's been it seems to be, unfortunately, an increase in crime as a result, and this is nationwide as a result of coming out of the pandemic. I want to say that crime was had reduced when we were all inside the house, of course, and then, of course, it gradually or vastly increased as we're now coming out of the pandemic. So policing is much different than it was when I first started.
Are you one of those policemen that believe that psychologists or social workers, those type of mental health people shouldn't be involved within the police force, even as far as being on staff?
So yeah, well, I think, or at least my belief is that it used to be taboo back in the days, and there was a stigma that came with mental health. So during my beginning years on law enforcement, but now you see more people that are willing to talk about mental health and to get the resources that they need to help themselves and others. So that has played a huge role in law enforcement as well. More and more police officers are becoming CIT trained, and CIT is crisis intervention training, so that they know how to actually, interact with those that are dealing with mental issues. So I think that has truly helped the law enforcement and the community as a whole.
While I understand some people are just criminal, they're just criminal. When you were saying about the pandemic and now people coming out and committing more crimes, my mind went to the fact that I don't know if they're committing crimes coming out of the pandemic because of mental health issues or whether it's just plain I've been locked up in the house and it's just all about crime for me. I'm just wilding out. I don't know. Maybe it's a combination of the both.
See, and I wish I could speak intelligently about that because I really don't know either. Having transitioned, I came to NSU in 2018, and of course we're now coming out of the pandemic. So I have left city policing when the pandemic had occurred. So I don't know if there's a direct correlation or not in terms of the mental illness and the increase in crime. I think it's probably more so to deal with the fact that we were isolated, we were in our homes, and of course, coming out of that, some jobs are not available as they were before, and there's probably a myriad of reasons as to why crime has kind of increased, or we've seen an increase nationwide.
As you said, it's nationwide. To that end, are police forces coming together to try to solve it since it is nationwide? Is it something that you're looking at departments and you're like, look, we need to get together and, maybe together we can stop all this crime that's going on out here? Because I know in Richmond it's everywhere. Yesterday on the news, they're talking about Louisiana, the murder capital of the world. I'm like, Louisiana, it's everywhere. So our police department's looking at one another and trying to band together to fight crime and come up with some answers.
Absolutely. Now, of course, it's going to take a holistic approach. Police departments are coming together. I'm a part of a regional chiefs of police committee, and we all meet at least once a month, and we talk about crime. We talk about things that we can do to kind of decrease crime in our area and our communities. But again, it's going to take a holistic approach. The community has got to be involved as well in order for us to see some real change done in terms of the crime and the uptick in crime.
People laugh at me, but I do the morning show here on the radio station, and I tell people I think it just starts with sitting down eating dinner together. I don't think it's brain surgery. I just think people need to realize that somebody will listen to them. They are being heard. People need to take time out with one another and put down all the electronics and I'm not going to my bedroom to eat dinner. First of all, my parents wouldn't even let us go to the bedroom to eat dinner, right? You had to sit at that table, right?
Absolutely. You had to sit at the table. But, we've gotten away from that. We've gotten away from the traditional values and the ways that the house was brought up. I know that as a child, we could not be outside if the street lights came on. We had to be inside by the time the light came on. And of course, as you said, we all sat down at the table, we ate together, and there wasn't the electronics that really consumed our space and our time. There was more dialogue, there was more conversation.
Yes.
But nowadays, it just doesn't seem like that.
Occasionally, I'll watch a show on television. It's called Blue Bloods. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
I am.
Okay, so it's got that whole, the whole family's involved with law enforcement, whether they're on the streets or lawyers or whatever, but they have the family time together, but no electronics are allowed at the dinner table. And there's a reason for that. And like I said, it might sound simplistic, like, Cheryl, how's that going to stop a gun? But I think it's, you pile up the little things, like when you wake up in the morning and you go greet your child, it should be love. Good morning. How you doing today? Give me a hug. But some children don't wake up to that. They wake up to fussing and fighting, and then we expect them to go to school, and we expect them to be well-behaved and well-mannered and get good grades, and they're living in turmoil,
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And it is unfortunate. And you're right. That show, if I'm not mistaken, I want to say every Sunday they sit down and they eat together and they discuss how the week has gone. And we've gone away from that, unfortunately. But a lot of times it's economics. It's the socioeconomic piece that goes with that. Many of our homes, the mother, the father is working 7 days a week, 6 or 7 days a week, and the time is lacking for them to have that interaction that they need with our youth. And it's my belief that an idle mind, is the devil's workshop.
Right.
So if kids don't have something to do, they will certainly find something to get into.
And to delve deeper into that, many times you will come across people, and like you said, there are some people in that exact situation. They have to work. But then you have a segment of people where maybe both parents don't have to work. I think a lot of people figured that out during the pandemic. And if I'm not working, if I'm the husband not working, or if I'm the wife not working, that does give me more time to be with my child. And you know what? I may not have the cable, and I might not have 3 fancy cars, but I have cars in the driveway that get me to A and B, and I have family time. And I think during the pandemic, when everybody was quitting their jobs or whatever, and people were like, why are people quitting their jobs? I really think during the pandemic, when people couldn't work, some people realized that, you know what? It's important for me to be with my family. And I saw a stat the other day, and it said about how many families in Virginia are now homeschooling their children. That started with the pandemic.
Oh, wow. That is very interesting. And it kind of reminded me while you were talking, I was just thinking about Barack Obama, our former president of the United States, 44th, if I'm not mistaken. He during an interview I was watching where he talked about his mother or his parents did not allow him to watch TV during the week. He could not watch anything until the weekend, and the primary focus was his lesson, his schoolwork throughout the week. He can read as many books as he wanted to, but there was no watching of TV. And I think some of the morals and values that we should be instilling in our kids, we've moved away from, unfortunately.
We can't do what's easy. And, I realize that it's easy to give my toddler a iPad and say, amuse yourself, but that's not what's best for my toddler or for me or for my community. It's just not. And, people might get an attitude when I say it. That's okay. I'm a big girl. I can handle it. But we have to get back to this family. We talk about the village. We have to be the village. We can't expect other people to be the village because we've got 14, 15, 12-year-olds out here committing crimes, and they don't realize it's like a movie or something, but they don't see what happens after that life ends. They don't see the aftermath of when the life is gone. You know what I mean?
You're absolutely right. And they don't understand that not only are they affecting their life, but they're affecting the lives of others. So you have all these people that are affected by some of the violent crimes that occur, that it's senseless. And it's unfortunate and it's sad. And I will be certainly glad when we can get a better hold and a better grip on our youth. And we just, learn some coping skills, some conflict resolution skills so that we don't resort always to violence.
We lost a young lady from the Norfolk State family a few weeks ago. I don't think there's been any update on who perpetrated that crime. But I listened on the news and I saw another student and she said, I only feel safe when I'm on the campus of Norfolk State University. So that is a salute to you and your department, Chief Covington.
Yes, and as you all would know, safety and the safety of all our entire campus community is my number one priority. I want everyone to be able to come on campus, feel safe when they're here, but I also want them to feel safe outside. And that's why we have developed a great working relationship with our law enforcement partners, with the Norfolk Police Department and the Norfolk Sheriff's Department. And we're just, we're working together to make sure that our students, our faculty and staff, they're safe not only on campus, but off campus as well. Because we do instill a culture of care, and we want them to know that you're safe here, and we're doing everything we can to keep you safe. And we hope that when you do leave the campus, we give you enough tools and resources to let you know that if you do have any issues, if you're in trouble in any kind of way, that, how to contact the police and how to get some resources if you need them.
We have emergency boxes all around campus. I come to campus really early in the morning. I see police going through. I see security going through. I remember when my father brought me to Norfolk State University. I tell this story all the time, way back in 1979. And he pulled up to the campus, and there were no gates around the campus. My father, I thought he was going to take me back to Richmond, okay? But I was safe. I was sound. And today it's even more safe, right?
Yeah. So, we are an open campus. There are gates that kind of prohibit vehicles from coming on if you're not doing any business for the campus. Of course, we always ask that you check in with our parking detail to get a visitor's pass. But we are open campus. We always are inclusive and inviting to the outside community. But we are just as safe here as you are with any other university or education of higher learning institution.
As the new police chief here, are there any immediate changes you want to make? Any new programs you want to bring on board? Anything you want to change right away? Or since you've been interim for a while, you kind of have things going in the direction that you want to proceed?
So I have been interim for a little over a year now. And, of course, now the position has been solidified, thank God, through a national search. We did go through several interviews in order for me to, of course, acquire the position. So
I need for people to understand what you just said, because this is a state position and you just don't give somebody a job. Even though he was interim, he still had to go through all the steps that a Joe Blow applying from California might have had to go through.
Absolutely. There were, from what I understand, there were several candidates from out of state that was in the process with me. So you're absolutely right. The position by no means was handed to me or given to me. And I'm certainly thankful that the search committee, which involved the students as well.
Yes.
I'm certainly grateful that they did select me to lead the University Police Department.
Right. Okay. All right. So being interim for a year, was it anything that was really different when you came to Norfolk State from being there with the city of Hampton? Was there anything really startling different because of the fact that this is a college campus?
So not necessarily different, but the approach is different. And what I mean by that, city policing and transitioning from being a city police officer to a campus police officer, of course, your constituents are primarily your students.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to certainly take that in consideration when you're interacting with the students and how you handle certain problems. So with that being said, I can't stress enough how much we are a culture of care for our students and collaborating with our students, teaching them some of the things that are illegal, informing them, because many of them come from out of state and some laws may be different from state to state. So we really try to do a good job in educating them on just, how to make it through these 4 years while you're here safely, soundly, and receive your education, and then go on to be very, very productive. I am not a graduate of NSU, but my wife is, and my sister-in-law, to include my brother-in-law, they're all 3 graduates of NSU, and they've gone on to do, the green and gold. They've gone to do some wonderful things, and that's what we want to see in our students that are here now.
I am talking to Brian K. Covington. He is now the police chief, the police chief of Norfolk State University. I do want to ask you, we were on the air one Friday, and we received a bomb threat. First of all, Chief, I have an attitude that all of these HBCUs have gotten these bomb threats, and I haven't seen any movement on the part of the federal government or federal police or whatever to get whomever is responsible for this. It's no way they don't know something. It's just no way. Why the silence? What's going on with that? What can you tell us?
So I will say this. We work very, very closely with the FBI, the Norfolk Field Office, and there are several agents there that I've met with and spoken to. I've even met with the director of the FBI, Christopher Wray, and he has informed me that they are working on it. They have identified several people that are believed to be involved, and the case is still ongoing. So I don't know all the particulars, but I do know that they have been able to identify those that started these ring of bomb threats throughout several of our HBCUs.
When I was thinking about it, I was like, it's no way they don't have something, but for whatever reason, they haven't moved on it. They haven't talked to the public about it. But because I was sitting in that studio, I was perfectly safe that day. I knew it. But after a while, it begins to wear on your nerves, your psyche. You get anxious or whatever. You know deep down you're safe, but it does something to you.
It does. And we want our campus community to know that we're aware. We know that the anxiety can sometimes raise your anxiety with these bomb threats. But from what the FBI has told us and informed us, these are just simple threats. None of the threats have been confirmed as real threats. It appears to be, from what I understand, some that were identified were juveniles that were making these calls. And it's unfortunate because it raises the anxiety of our students, and it interrupts and disrupts the learning process, especially when a bomb threat occurs and we have to evacuate, we have to coordinate with our law enforcement partners to clear buildings to ensure the campus is safe. So it causes a huge disruption, but I will say that they are working very, very hard to ensure that the bomb threats do not continue. And I hope to hear something soon from the FBI that they have decided to go ahead and move forward with the prosecution of those that have been identified as suspects.
That is music to my ears. That's music to my ears. That sounds good because, it's not been on the front page in a few, but it's still going on. So, we're just glad to get any update that you can give us. Speaking today with Brian K. Covington, the new police chief here at Norfolk State University. He had just sworn in earlier this week, brand spanking new. He's been here for a year, but still our new leader when it comes to safety and all things wonderful. When students come to campus with their parents and all of that, if the parents say, you know what, I just want to stop by the police station and just talk to them, are you all open to that? Is that a possibility?
Absolutely. We are located at 2501 Corprew Avenue, and that's right on the east side of campus, and they are always welcome to come in and speak with any of the officers that are here, speak with myself. As a matter of fact, many of the officers, to include myself, we work during move-in day. And that gives us an opportunity to actually engage with the parents when they're dropping their kids off. I've given out several business cards. I have even kept in touch with many of the parents that have dropped off their students. And every now and then I either receive an email or a phone call asking, is their child okay?
Nice.
Just wanting an update. So absolutely, we certainly encourage our parents to be interactive with the police department. We are here for you.
That's good news. You are in a tough job. You probably won't say that, but I can say that. You're in a tough job. We're excited about what you're going to do here at Norfolk State, what you've been doing here at Norfolk State. And if you have any final words of that you want to give out to this audience about relations between the community and the police, go ahead and please do so.
So I will say this, relationships are very, very important. I know I mentioned earlier about having a holistic approach, but one of the pillars, Barack Obama, years ago, he implemented a task force on public safety, and it was centered around 21st century policing. And one of the pillars within that model was community policing. So I certainly look to those models to where we engage with, at least here on campus, very, very heavily with our SGA president and all the other organizations throughout the campus community to ensure that we know what the students want and some of their needs, and we collaborate to make sure that we get that done. And if I can just add one plug, we've incorporated some new procedures and policies in terms of our game day events for our football season.
Yes.
So, we certainly encourage everyone to go out on the website and to look at what those new policies and procedures are in terms of the size of bags that they can actually bring to the football games, because we certainly want you to have an enjoyable experience when you come here on campus. And we want you to be as safe as possible. So I thank you for your time. I appreciate this interview. Thank you so much.
Not a problem at all. We are proud of you. If there's anything the radio station can do for you, just give us a call. That's what we're here for. And we wish you much continued success. Chief Covington, how does that sound?
It sounds awesome. And to all the glory be to God. So thank you so much.
Thank you all for listening. We've had a great time on this Sunday morning. You all are the best. I shall return next Sunday with a brand new profile. You can't wait. It's going to be exciting as ever. I'm Cheryl Wilkerson. I thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.